Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Court-Martail Podcast. Introducing your host for this evening first. He is the host with the most from the West Coast, the Bay Area Brawler, Skylar Greenberg. And his partner, he has colonized, energized, and revolutionized the podcasting wrestling world today. Your Colonial champion, Sean McCarty. And welcome to a wonderful new year, 2022. It's a year of definitive change and the best of the best when the rest is absolute trash, which is what we're going to review today. But this is pure gold. Here in audio form and video form, for those of you watching on YouTube, I am your Colonial champion, Sean McCarty, here, bringing you the best review of day one you're going to hear. It's been a week. Here on day 7. It's been a week, or day 8 as the time of release, since the year has started, and 2022, boy, has it been a doozy. But to count it and go through it all alone, and there's been a lot in just this 8 days' time, I gotta bring back the old classic, the co-host who has more than earned that co-host position since applying more than a year and a half ago. The man who anchors this show down when I am so easily jumping over the sides. The man of the hour, the man with the power, too sweet to be sour. He is the Bay Area Brawler himself, Skylar Greenberg. How are you doing?
We're about a week or two into 2022, but can I cancel my free trial?
No, because you're... Fun fact, that free trial only lasted a day, and then they just automatically got your credit card, and now they're just taking $40 out a month.
Shit, we're locked in.
That's right. You got to call, the service and be like, hey... listen, I didn't mean to do that, and then make up the bullshit, listen, I was hacked, and I'm somebody else got in and bought all this stuff, and so...
Forget that's going to be too much of a pain. I'm just going to enjoy 2022 then.
I guess we're just going to have fun with it. I got to tell you, I mean, it's been a wild week in the world of professional wrestling, all up and down. Definitely, I didn't think we'd get the mileage out of some of the things that we made last year, but we have got a lot to talk about. But I'm going to shut up for once and let this man have the floor. As we always do, roll that intro, baby. Coming straight to you from the Golden Gate Garage, this is the Wrestle News with Skylar Greenberg.
That is right, folks. It is the news of the week with the Bay Area Brawler, Skylar Greenberg, at your service. And we have a lot of things to talk about. And we have a lot of things that we're going to try to cover. And if we don't cover everything, it's just because so much has happened these last basically 2 weeks. Yeah,
then it's been a lot to catch up on. And also, we haven't done a news segment since, I think, the second week of December. Here we are 8 days into January. And then we had the Grapplies and ACPW and NWL and all that jazz. So it's been a while. So we got some news to catch up on.
So if we don't mention something, it's just because so much has happened and we had to prioritize certain things over other things. Now, we're going to start with something that happened in 2021, on the eve of 2021.
Yeah.
Involving Mr. Tony Khan, man who has terrible haircut himself.
Yeah, that's honestly the least offensive thing about him, though. I didn't even think about his hair, but
it's terrible.
He's not getting $100 haircuts.
No. So Mr. Khan, as it were, was involved in some scandal.
What? How is that possible? I don't think that's true. Tony Khan got himself into hot water by something he said. Are you sure?
No, I tell you, man, it happened.
So, wow, I'm stunned.
Now, let me go ahead and introduce the lead. The lead is that there was a wrestler who was working for him by the name of Big Swole.
Swole?
For people who don't know who she was, she wrestled in the Mae Young Classic, and she's also married to Cedric Alexander. She had been working with AEW for a year and a half or so, but she and Tony Khan and AEW mutually parted ways a couple of months ago. Because they just agreed it wasn't working, right?
Well, that was what was said at the time. It was a very peaceful parting, I noticed.
They said it was a mutual parting of ways because they realized it was best for both people. So AEW goes on its way, and Big Swole then does a conversation with Fightful about her time there and what she feels is a lack of diversity and structure. So let me go ahead and read this part first before we get to Tony Khan's response. And we'll break down the Big Swole part because there are things that we need to get around it.
So but before you continue into that, just it's worth kind of prefacing this with that at least I don't believe that either of these two behaved appropriately in this incident. So we are going to give both of them their fair objective level of opinion.
Right. So let me start with what Big Swole said that elicited the response from Tony Khan. First of 3 paragraphs. I do not beat around the bush when it comes to diversity and my people. There is no representation truly, and when there is, it does not come across in the black community as genuine at all. I don't know why everybody is so afraid to accept it or say it, but it's not a good look. What happens is you have this wonderful company that treats people like family, but there is nobody that looks like me that is represented at the top and in the room with them. They are not helping to necessarily influence decisions, but to explain why certain slang and certain words shouldn't be said. There is no one else who can explain our culture and experience except for us.
I just don't think that's necessarily true, given... I mean, to be fair, do they have a top black champion? No, they don't. But to be fair, is there anyone on their roster that you would say is at that level?
No, but there are potential. But I think the thing that she said in this particular paragraph is there's no one in the top of the executive vice president level who is black and is a good representation.
Well, I mean, but if there's no one, I mean, I don't know. Consider this just my 2 cents, but if there's no one at that level, why should there be someone just at that level because of that? You know?
Exactly. Then it becomes affirmative action.
Right. And we've always sniffed out and I've always, there's a well-known track record in the Court-Martail podcast of sniffing out that kind of thing.
Right. Now let's go ahead and move on to the second paragraph because this is where it gets interesting.
Yep.
I knew something was up when my daughter, who loves watching wrestling, she would watch AEW all the time and seldomly watch WWE. She's not a big fan of WWE unless Dad, Cedric Alexander, was on TV, which stopped happening after they botched the Hurt Business.
Fair. Can't argue with that.
She would say, Mommy, there is nobody that looks like me on AEW. There's nobody that looks like Daddy. Then she started watching WWE because she saw Bianca and Big E. She saw herself represented. If that wasn't a click, you are absolutely right. I don't have an explanation. It's 2021, 2022. Why are people saying it'll take 3 years for AEW to have a black champ? This is a scripted sport. It should not take that long if you've been watching WWE for 50 plus years and you know what not to do.
Oh, lots to unpack here. First of all, way to make your point by disrespecting the business that gave you an opportunity. You know, I wouldn't mind if you said this is a sport, but this is a... Why does the business have to say it's scripted, and why do we have to acknowledge that? We all understand that, right? It's not insulting anybody's intelligence to just not say it to keep the illusion alive because that's the fun of it.
It's just the
I hate
way
when the
that
talent
she
does
talks
this.
about it. The way she talks about it is just... It's just a person who truly doesn't get it.
Yeah. But I will say, in her defense here, just with this, WWE has gotten a lot better with representation from where they started. They have a lot of prominently... They have a very predominantly diverse roster on their hands of top names. Big E, Bobby Lashley, New Day, Kofi Kingston, you know, I kind of grouped them together, but, you know, Cedric
Bianca Belair.
The Bianca Belair, the Hurt Business, the Usos, Roman Reigns, you know, it's like there's a lot more there than just, you know, Whitey Willoughby and Hulk Hogan.
Right, but she doesn't give WWE a pass either because it took them 50 plus years to kind of get it.
Right. No, I'm not giving them a pass for it. I'm just saying they're better now than they were before. But at the same time, they also have been building these people to where it seems more acceptable, and they're at that level where they would be accepted as she. It's like you said, Sky, she just doesn't understand the business at all. She's got no concept of how things work and how to make yourself more valuable. Hence why we got the tooth and nail match, and then the rest of this.
Now let me go on to the third paragraph of Big Swole and her final paragraph. With promises you made to be diverse, I want to see that. Not just with Black people, I would love to see a Latino or Hispanic or more Asians. I feel like Asians and Indians do not get the love. They just don't. It's such a big gap. I hate the fact that I turn on TV and it's the same stuff over and over again. Hopefully they get the message. Me leaving, honestly, was not that bad. There's no blood between Tony Khan and I. I just don't like my peace being disrupted. I don't like certain things and other things that I will take to my grave. The diversity, that's what matters.
I mean,
she
it's
had
not
me
though.
Until the Latino / Hispanic and Asian thing, because if anything, Asians and Hispanics have gotten better stuff in AEW than Black people.
Yeah. I mean, there is a lot of diversity on AEW's roster. It just so happens that CM Punk and Bryan Danielson and Adam Page and MJF are really good.
Right. But hold on. Let's go back a second, okay? They have the Lucha Brothers, who were just the tag team champions, and we'll address that situation in a little bit because something happened involving those guys.
Yes.
But the Lucha Brothers, they are the tag team champions. You had, as much as we shit on Hikaru Shida and Riho, they were champions.
Yes, they were.
They kept bringing over Japanese guys, Japanese legends, and Japanese wrestlers like Kenta Kobayashi and Minoru Suzuki. Granted, they're older, so they shouldn't be wrestling, but that's another conversation for another day.
Yeah.
They keep bringing in Asians and Hispanics of note and name.
You know what this sounds like? This sounds like reaching for something to get attention put on her so that she comes out of this the babyface after there was no reason to do this. I don't think. I mean, this just seems to me like an attention grab more than it actually is having an actual complaint, because you look at AEW at all, you look at any of these at all, and they seem to be doing okay.
Well, here's my thing. If she had said something like, I want to see Black people in AEW get what Asians and Latinos are getting in AEW, then she would have had a point, because then it would have just been about her people, which, even if Big Swole is a terrible wrestler, let's get this right out of the way.
Bad.
She's one of the worst wrestlers I've ever seen, okay?
Bad.
She's bad. And she's not a name. This is not Britt Baker taking a step out of line saying, we need to do this for Black people.
Right, yeah.
It's not Hangman Adam Page or Cole or Punk or Bryan that's stepping out for this. It's not a big name.
Or even, just to cross the pond, it's not something like Bianca Belair saying something.
Exactly.
Just for the sheer value of the person in the hierarchy that they are trying to get involved with.
Okay, now let's move on to the Tony Khan tweet, because this is the big part.
Yeah, now, this is where Tony Khan did not do himself any favors.
Right. So, let's see what we got here. Mr. Khan himself. The top two AEW execs are Brown, me and Megna Parka, by the way, for those who don't know. Jade, Bowens, Caster, Dante, Nyla, Isaiah, and Mark Quinn all won on TV this month. The TBS tournament has been very diverse. I let Swole's contract expire as I felt her wrestling wasn't good enough. Hashtag AEW Rampage, street fight tonight.
To get the promo in there, that's the best part. You know that guy had 4 different trains of thought making that one tweet.
Well, there are 3 specific things that I have a problem with this. Okay?
Yeah.
Shall I begin listing them off?
Please do.
So he lists himself and his executives and also all the Black people that won on TV this month. And it very much sounds like a racist saying, I'm not a racist, I have Black friends.
Yeah. Or look at what I'm doing for you.
Look at what I'm doing for your people. I'm not racist, I'm helping them out.
You should be thanking me. Yeah, that's kind of how this came off, though.
Right. And then, I let Swole's contract expire as I felt her wrestling wasn't good enough. Listen, that may have been true, But Tony Khan, you are the public face of AEW. You can't be saying these types of things. As fans, we can say that thing because we don't have anything to do with it. We don't have any interest in it beyond being paying customers. But you are the person in charge of the company, and you're saying she's not good enough, and you're taking this crap on her when she said there was no issue between you guys.
It's funny because I actually don't have a problem with this one, with that part of it specifically, because if you're going to make inflammatory comments about diversity that just plain aren't true, and to say that, that was part of, I just see lack of diversity and that's been a part of my problem. And Tony Khan, is sitting there going, what the hell is this? I got no problem with him saying, no, you didn't leave because it wasn't diverse enough. I cut you because you weren't good enough. That's fine. I don't have an issue with that. But adding in a promo on top of that and plugging the show and also saying, the previous part, that's the part that's really my problem with it, is don't come off like you're some sort of savior for for minorities. That's my problem. But to say that your wrestling isn't good enough, I don't have a problem with that, because he needs publicity points, and he would have gotten them if he had just ended the tweet or just said, I cut Big Swole because she wasn't good enough, and didn't say any of the rest of that tweet. That would have been savage.
But that's the thing, is that Vince McMahon never responds to people who comment about WWE. You don't hear Vince McMahon personally saying, oh, my goodness, I let go of blah, blah, and they sucked as a wrestler. Fuck them or something. Like, Tony Khan does not need to respond to Big Swole. He could have just let this stay silent.
Well, you know what, though? I would just counter with that. Maybe Vince should. Because right now, I mean, given the fact of what Vince has been looking like on television lately, the way he's done that, his public image right now is not good. If he came out and went on, on one of these people he cut and just was like, this guy sucked, I think that if he showed some personality, people might be at least a little bit more interested in his product and a little bit more interested in what he's doing. It's a new age.
But the thing is that this is not the type of thing that you want to see. As a talent, if I work for them and I get released and possibly Tony Khan's going to tweet at me saying I wasn't good enough.
Yeah, but it's not like that wasn't without foundation. It wasn't like she didn't start the situation by claiming something that wasn't accurate. To say all of a sudden, oh, now I have a problem with diversity. This was never a problem while you were employed, by the way. It was only a problem when you left, and then your daughter started saying stuff. So that's where I don't buy this. How come you didn't speak up about this when you were in the middle of getting paid more money than you will ever be paid in your life for professional wrestling? How is it you can go from there not having an issue, then you get released, all of a sudden you got a problem with this? I don't see Tony Khan responding here as a problem. I think how he responded with this compartmentalized racism thrown back at her, that was a problem. Plugging the street fight at the end of it was a problem. But him coming back and firing back at somebody about something inflammatory that they made, I cannot fault him for that.
Right, but at the very least, it's childish.
Yes.
And there were reactions to this. The most inflammatory one was Leo Rush, who told Tony Khan to apologize.
Yeah.
In all capital letters. And then the day after, he kind of retracted that and saying, me and Tony Khan had a conversation about this, and I've seen a new light or something.
Meaning, Tony Khan said, listen, you shut the fuck up or you're next. And he's probably like, okay, I like getting paid a lot of money. And so...
and again, this is one of those guys, Leo Rush, who is known for being an idiot. Now, the other thing, too, is that Will Hobbs, Powerhouse Will Hobbs, who you and me both love,
yep, he
had a much better response to this. I'm not going to read the tweet mainly. I'm just going to say one thing that he said. There is so much that goes into AEW that people don't see online. It often flies under the radar that Tony and Magna are people of color, and having them in charge represents progress for wrestling. I see firsthand how hard they're working to make wrestling more diverse. I want you to all consider that Tony and Magna are family, and I'm disappointed to see your efforts dismissed. People have no idea the time and effort it takes to put shows on and make an open environment where people like me are seen and heard. AEW is a young company led by people of color, heading in the right direction. I'm proud of that. I'm a proud part of the moment, and I know my colleagues stand behind me when I say that.
That man crafted a masterpiece. Tony Khan needs media training. That's I think the bottom line here. Tony Khan needs media training so he can handle these situations better because, throwing childish insults back and forth doesn't get anything really solved. It just creates more media.
It also is one of those things where don't bite the hand that feeds you. But because Big Swole doesn't have a hand that's feeding her, she's going to continuously bite it.
Yeah. Well,
and again, Powerhouse Will Hobbs is one of those guys who you and me tip as being a future world champion with AEW. We see the Jade Cargill, even though she's kind of bad wrestling, she's about to win the TBS title. At least we think she is.
I think she actually did. I think she did this past. I think she did on Wednesday.
She did.
She beat Ruby Soho for that.
So I mean,
the bottom line is that this kind of petty squabbling doesn't do Tony Khan any favors, doesn't do Big Swole any favors, and if you're going to have some sort of argument to make here, you got to at least, first of all, find out whether that's actually provable or not, and B, don't feed the trolls, Tony. Don't feed the trolls.
This is one of those things where people should not be doing Twitter fights. I'm sorry, Tony Khan, just don't do them.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to move on to a slightly unhappier topic. We're going to talk about some releases with a theme song that Sean custom made. Sean, are you ready to play that theme?
I did not even think that we were going to get this much mileage out of this, but we're still driving down the road with this one. Hit it! So you've been released by the WWE. Best of luck in your future endeavors. You've been released by the WWE. And now you gotta go wrestle for Impact. You've been released by the WWE. Best of luck in your future endeavors. You've been released by the WWE. Damn, and now what? Pal. You gotta wrestle for Impact. Impact. And you know that pay gon' be so low.
Alrighty, folks. We're going to talk about some releases.
Lots of them.
WWE just decided to ring in the new year by cutting people off.
Yes, Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis' favorite thing to do, New Year's Day, taking out the sickle, just chopping heads.
Now, we're actually going to talk about one release that happened before the new year began, involving one Toni Storm who requested her release.
Yes.
Now, do you know the situation around this?
Well, I know she wasn't happy. I know she was saying, oh my God, what is my life in catering? And I also know that she thought the horsewomen were going to suffocate any opportunities that she possibly would have gotten.
No, well, specifically Charlotte Flair. She had a feud with Charlotte Flair, which, by the way, involved Charlotte throwing a pie in Tony's face.
Of course.
And she worked a match with Charlotte on the Christmas Day Smackdown. It was taped ahead of it. It taped ahead, but it was airing live then. She did a live show in Baltimore, and then she decided, you know what? This isn't for me. Got a plane ticket, went all the way home.
Well,
apparently there were talks that she had been burnt out by certain things that were going on. I don't know if that's just wrestling in general or just WWE, but it could be both.
I mean, it is a pretty rigorous schedule going 300 days a year. And how long had Toni been on the main roster?
She'd only been on the roster for 6 months, but the thing about it is that she made one match with Zelina Vega as her debut, disappeared for like 3 or 4 months in catering, which is why that catering quote came out. And then she got in Survivor Series and then had this feud with Charlotte Flair, and that's it.
Yeah, welcome to the main roster, Toni. I don't know why you expected anything different.
I would like to point out, by the way, that the last match I had for her as my champion for over a year was a rematch against Charlotte Flair. So thanks, WWE, for continuously stealing my feuds.
Well, at least if you push it for a third year, you know you're not going to have that happen again.
I know.
I mean, cold comfort, but at least they can't steal your idea again.
But this is the thing, is that I picked Toni Storm to be basically the face of my women's division because I think of her in that light. I think she's one of the best women's wrestler in the WWE and in the world in general. She is the person that AEW should sign immediately and have her feud with Britt Baker because she's that star level power. She looks great. She is a good wrestler. She can do a promo.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's weird because every time I see another wave of releases, I don't get like sad anymore. I'm like, ooh, good, good.
You're rooting for them at this
Yeah,
point. You
it's like
told us in our group chat that short of a walkout by all the talent, nothing's going to change in WWE.
yeah. And I think it's just going to be more of that. I mean, look at the stalwarts that have started to leave. I mean, we're going to get into them here in just a second.
Let's go ahead and get into those releases.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to talk about one that's different from the other ones, and then we'll talk about the other ones because the other ones have something in common. Are you ready?
I see a trend.
So, Kathy, quotation marks, Allison Danger Corano. Does that name sound familiar, that last name? It should, because she is related as the sister of longtime WWE producer Steve Corano. Of course, famously, he's the guy that Mickie James reportedly had her stuff sent in a trash bag.
You mean, oh, yes, yes.
But anyways, back to Kathy for a second. Do you want to know her experience working for NXT?
What did she do?
I'm going to go ahead and give you that experience. Lenny Leonard, who is a friend of hers and an independent referee, told a story on his Twitter about how she had been working in pro wrestling for 20 years, and she finally got her dream job to work as a trainer at WWE's Performance Center last year. So she had to make a move from Vegas to Orlando because she moved her entire family from Vegas to Orlando in order to do her dream job. 3 months go by, no performance issues to speak of. She's doing well. And then she gets exposed to COVID, ruining Christmas because she has to be quarantined from her family. And then she makes it the New Year, and she gets released.
Damn.
Oh, and Lenny Leonard continues on. The best part will be when they say she was let go due to budget reasons, completely forgetting that the reason they told her it took 3 months for her hiring to be approved in the first place was that they were waiting for budget approval to hire her. You need better accountants.
How does this happen with the biggest wrestling company in the world? How does this happen?
The problem is they fired those accountants, so...
Right.
Now, let's go ahead and get into the rest of these people, because besides Corano, everyone else have been there for a while, and they each have something in common, which we'll talk about in a second. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Danny Burch, former NXT Tag Team Champion, who had moved into a coaching role.
Who I really liked with the team with Lorcan. I thought that they were really good. And
they were a throwback to old school style wrestling.
Yeah, and they were never going to be like the top tag team, but they were always they could go. They could always go. I've never heard them really cut any promos of significance, but they could always go. He
was one of Pat McAfee's goons.
Yeah. Yeah, they had a lot of skill. I mean, Lorcan we saw was released last year?
Yep.
Well, that was right in the fall, I think. Or who knows? Yep. They basically did a release like every month and a half.
Anyways, let me continue because we have a lot of names to go through.
Yeah, we do.
Timothy Thatcher, another wrestler who had transitioned to a trainer role recently.
Oh, I really liked Timothy Thatcher too.
I know. It's just disappointing that he had that great feud with Tommaso Ciampa and it went nowhere.
He even put a pretty decent match in with Brawler, I remember.
Yeah. Hideka Suzuki, who had been playing Diamond Mine's henchman and working off-screen as a coach for the last 3 years. George Carroll, hired to the creative team for NXT last year after stints with New Japan and MLW. Longtime writer-producer Ryan Katz, who had been with NXT as a writer and producer since the Dusty Rhodes times leading the program. Dave Kapoor, Rinjin Singh, a senior vice president of creative who transferred to Florida to work full-time on NXT last year. Chris A. Steele Guy, he was the coach at NXT and was originally CM Punk's original trainer. So you get rid of all these background people, right?
Yeah, we haven't even gotten to the names yet.
Let's get to the big names, shall we?
Yeah.
Gabe Sapolsky, working with NXT as a producer and famously was the one who was leading Evolve until it was folded into WWE.
Yep.
And Gabe Sapolsky is a great mind and a great eye for talent.
He does. No, he's definitely a good... he's always been good at what he's done.
Yep. Scott Armstrong, former referee turned producer who was furloughed in 2020 at the start of the pandemic, but brought back later in the year. And his brother, the Road Dogg, Brian James, who had been released from WWE. He was a producer and trainer at the Performance Center.
Oh, God. We're getting a New Age Outlaws reunion in AEW, aren't we?
Oh, God.
Oh, my God. Oh, you know what? Bring Scott. Bring his kids, too. Let's make it like a New Age Outlaws and the Outlaw Jets, like the little cadets. You know, and they could just shoot around with little toy cowboy guns and vests, riding Shetland ponies. That'd be great. It'd be great.
No.
Yeah, we'll have Road Dogg sing with Jeff Jarrett. It'll be a blast. Good time.
Samoa Joe.
That one is the most recent.
But again, Samoa Joe is released.
Yep. He was.
But let's talk about the biggest name, William Regal, the longtime general manager of NXT and behind the scenes the lead talent scout and coach of NXT's Performance Center, and the one who was in charge of NXT during its golden run between 2014 and 2020.
Here's how I'll put it. Triple H is looking at Vince McMahon going, Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good.
And that's the connection. All these people I just named were one of Triple H's guys. And you know the reason why they were released?
Because they didn't beat AEW.
No. Because Nick Khan has been getting rid of everyone in Triple H's circle. Because, have you noticed, ever since Triple H had his heart issues, Nick Khan has been taking over. And he's been using his power to get rid of Triple H's people. This is the same thing we see in sports. When a new regime takes over, get rid of everyone who's part of the old regime, bring in my people. Because I want my people, because I trust my people.
Do you think Triple H would get pissed off enough to leave?
That's tough, because he
this
related
is,
the
I mean, this is basically Nick Khan telling him, I fucking dare you. That's what this is. This is Nick Khan saying to Triple H, go ahead, leave. Because there ain't going to be anybody that you recognize when you come back.
It feels like that, doesn't it? Like,
it does.
The only people who are left that were part of Triple H's group are Matt Bloom, the former Albert.
Give it time.
And Sarah Del Rey, who's a great trainer. But those are the only two left. Everyone else is gone.
Yep.
From that golden age of NXT.
Well, I'm sure this wasn't just Nick Khan, though. I bet Vince had a part to do with this, because Vince has done this before, where he's just, like, flicked up and hit the reset button for no reason. This is not the first time Vince McMahon has pulled something like this, so I wouldn't be surprised if Vince had a hand in being like, Triple H's whole 6 years of this didn't work, so it lost money, because I'm sure, you know, even though it didn't, but let's just take the sickle out and just cut all the heads. And
that's the thing, though, is that Vince McMahon, he's done that before, but he's never done it this personally with Triple H's baby. Because NXT
this feels targeted.
Baby. The Performance Center was Triple H's baby.
Yeah.
And you would think that Vince McMahon would not do that to the person who was at one time thought to be the heir.
Yeah, this definitely feels targeted, you know? And that's why I kind of think, you know, maybe Triple H, because I bet you, given how well off Triple H is financially, would you be surprised if Triple H decided, you know what? Fuck these guys. I'm gonna start my own business. You think Triple H would have the balls to do it, to start a separate wrestling promotion that was basically the old NXT and what it was supposed to be? You could bring all these people back. They all have a mind for wrestling, actual wrestling. You know, you don't need to present everything in the WWE cut and clean manufactured style. You can work with camera angles and toy around. You already know a ton about video production because of your position.
Hold on. Not that isn't a good idea, but we have to remember that incident happened in September 2021, and Triple H has not been back since. I think this heart issue he's having is very serious.
Oh, I believe it.
He may not physically be able to do it anymore.
I believe that. That is thoroughly possible. But I will say, if he does recover, how interesting would it be if the third company to come out of this two juggernaut war right now ends up being run by Triple H?
I don't know if Triple H would be able to be the one to run it, though. I mean, if anything, it may be a thing where Triple H is probably the owner, but the person who's booking may be William Regal, who is a Triple H guy.
Which is fine. I mean, I trust William Regal with the book. I would trust any of the people that you just released with the book. I mean,
I think William Regal would probably be the best one because he's the one that has the mind for old school style wrestling that Triple H likes.
Yeah, and that I like, and that you like, and that we all like.
If anything, the more interesting thing would he go over to AEW?
I don't think so. Because I don't think that Triple H would want to spit in his own father-in-law's face by appearing for another billionaire. I think he would want to instead branch out and try to make it on his own, and then know that he can come back to Vince when the time is right. If it doesn't work out. We will have to see, but this is a very interesting story that will continue to develop. Definitely developing. 2022 is going to be very interesting to see the fate of Triple H.
Yep. And now we're going to talk about another person's fate who, unfortunately, it was just unfortunate and bad. One Lucha brother had a serious injury. So they did this title match between the Jurassic Express, Lucha Boy, no, Jungle Boy.
Lucha Boy! Hey, I've made that mistake before.
I feel like I've done that mistake.
Jumping in out of the sky! REY! JOSHAGEDDON!
You're never gonna let me live this one down, huh?
Oh no, what happened?
Oh yeah, I just brought you in, and then you sounded scared. So be happy! Yeah, there we go.
I called Jungle Boy Lucha Boy.
And then you jumped in right there, as if from the top rope.
Yeah. Now I'm putting Skylar in the snare trap.
So does that mean that Joshua is Lucha Boy? Are you the fourth forgotten member of the Jurassic Express?
Well, no, I'm the third member because I murdered Marco Stunt.
Yeah, well, if you were the Lucha part of that, how come you didn't help Phoenix, when we had his thing? Go ahead and tell him what happened, Sky.
Anyways, so they do this match on New Year's Eve, whatever it's called, thing. And they have this match between Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, Rey Fenix, and Penta. And there was a spot where Luchasaurus did like a rock bottom through a table with Phoenix, and Phoenix's arm bent all the way.
And more.
He was screaming in pain, telling people to come over and help him.
And then he landed on top of it.
Yeah.
Phoenix's arm got fucked.
Yeah, and when you saw him move from the wreckage, you could just see it like dangling like jello, and it's like, oh!
Yeah. It made me think of the Psycho Sid leg injury.
I almost,
oh God, that's bad.
I almost think that this was not as bad as that, because that one, I mean, first of all, they cut away pretty quick from that. WCW was like, look at that!
Please.
And AEW was like, no, do not mention it. And then here's the thing: is that thankfully it was not a broken arm. It was only a very, very bad dislocation. But my understanding is that he'll be out for maybe a month or two.
Yeah,
I don't see how that wasn't a break.
Luck.
He got very lucky.
Yeah.
It wasn't any further.
1 in a million chance that he doesn't break his arm on that. And he ends up just severely dislocating it. But the end result ended up having to be the plans change. And
no. That was a planned title change.
Oh, did they? Was it really?
Yep. Apparently, Phoenix was not involved in the decision. It was going to be a title change, and Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy were supposed to win.
Okay, I'll believe that.
They ended the match on the fly.
They had to get Phoenix out, and they couldn't pan to Phoenix for the rest of the match.
Yeah,
but it's no matter what you feel about these people, you never want to see that. And best recovery to you, Phoenix. I remember you being good in Lucha Underground, so I will use that fond, nostalgic memory to say get well soon.
Well, that's not the only injury that happened.
That's right.
So there was a match on Rampage the same week. God damn it, AEW just...
Same show.
Why? I know. So, Adam Cole versus Jake Atlas. I don't know if you guys know who Jake Atlas is, but whatever. So let me go ahead and read what happened, okay?
Do it.
This sounds ridiculous because it is. While executing a springboard from the apron into the ring, Atlas was hit by Adam Cole with a super kick. Atlas hurt his knee coming down and began grabbing at it. Quote unquote, The second he came down on his knee, it buckled.
Ow.
Atlas had trouble putting weight on his knee, but still pulled himself up to get in position as they attempted to go for a Panama Sunrise to set up the finish. But Atlas was unable to take the spot. So Cole instead just grabbed him in a knee bar and Atlas tapped. The follow-up report says that Atlas apparently blew out his knee, but they're waiting for an MRI to determine the severity.
Yeah, if I blow up my leg, I'm not taking a Panama Sunrise. Just saying.
Credit to Atlas for trying to take a Panama Sunrise, but if anything, Cole should have just won with a last shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is a good time to mention that everybody argues about professional wrestling and the athletes, not being real athletes with sports. But have you ever seen a soccer player go down because somebody literally poked him and just went down and just sold the injury? This guy is trying to take a move where he has to do a backflip and land inches from the mat with his head after his knee is shot. These are tough people who fight through things that they shouldn't be fighting through. And unlike Antonio Brown, they actually are things that happen and are real things.
Whoa, hold on. We do not need to get into Tampa Bay Buccaneers Salt Fest.
That's a story for another time.
I have no idea who these people are.
Okay, basically think of Antonio Brown as Austin Aries.
So he no-sells things whenever he gets fired and causes a big ruckus.
And walks out.
Yeah, and starts complaining right after he's fired from someplace, like he actually had a problem with it from the start when he really didn't.
Yeah.
Because feel sorry for me.
Throw in the fact that Antonio Brown beats women and does drugs, and you make it even worse.
So, yeah, well, Austin Aries is a vegan, so I don't know. That's pretty even ground.
Right. Here on the
literal
very vegans. Daniel Bryan does not approve.
Daniel Bryan's okay. He's not an in-your-face vegan
Daniel
unless
Bryan
it's a gimmick.
Austin Aries does not speak for the vegan community.
That's right. That's right. Well,
but again, this is another thing with AEW is that a lot of their matches have unnecessary spots. Like, do they need to do a rock bottom through a table?
Well, of course. Well, how late into the show was it? Because every move known to man was probably executed prior to that moment. So they're like, well, it's the only thing we can do.
I believe it was the main event.
Yeah. So this is just kind of a point. AEW, do less. Do way less. Like, at least 60% less.
But with that, we're going to move on to the thing that we're really here to talk about, which is day one.
But don't do this.
All right, so with that, I'm going to go ahead and start my show because this is a simulclass.
It's a simulclass. Class is in session. Sit your asses down. I'm a teacher.
Simultaneous class taught by the tribal tree himself.
The tribal tree dangling all his juggly fruits.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Totally Awesome Podcast. My name is JoshAgeddon, and I'm joined by the Court-Martail Podcast. Say hello, everyone.
No, you joined our podcast and now have started your podcast.
You know what? You're right. I was out of town. I literally just got into my house like 5 minutes ago in the middle of one of their news segments, so I'm a little rude, but I am joining Sean McCarty, your Colonial champion, and the Bay Area Brawler, Skylar Greenberg.
I know I said it before, but I'll say it again. Can we stop the free trial of 2022? I want to get off the ride.
I already told you. They've already taken the money out of your account. These are recurring payments. You have to call bangbros.com and tell them to stop.
Fuck you.
You have to tell them that your card was hacked and somebody bought porn with it, and then they will totally believe you, and then you can unsubscribe, but it's like a whole zabada. It's not fun.
What, do I have to be Brian on the phone listening to a lady talk about, okay, so I see you made a payment for Captain Stabbing.
Oh, man. Hey, look, Sky, your preferences are your own. I'm not one to judge what you're into.
We're talking about Brian the dog from Family Guy's preferences, not mine, okay?
Yeah, do you want to talk about your preferences?
Whatever, man. Again, I ain't judging.
Okay, let's talk about my preferences. You want to know what my preferences are?
Sure.
Good professional wrestling, which is not what we got on day one.
No.
Oh, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be reviewing day one after that strange interlude.
That's right.
Down since day one-ish.
Yeah, this was definitely a ish.
So let's start with JoshAgeddon. Your overall thoughts of the show.
This might be the most unnecessary pay-per-view I've ever watched. Like, nothing happened. The only interesting thing that happened was the main event and everything surrounding the main event, which that literally the only thing watchable on this show. I didn't think it was that bad. It's just, it felt like an episode of Raw.
Yeah. Sky?
This was a boring pay-per-view. Oh, sorry. Boring premium live event.
Oh.
I will actually stab you. They only said that 50 trillion times during the course of
But
the show.
Joshua, he'd like that. He's ordering Captain Stabbing.
You know what? I'm going to get him off before he dies. Your final orgasm.
No, I'm good.
This is more this meaningless banter is more fun than this show was.
That's true.
This is
So can we talk about premium live event for a second? What the fuck?
We
It's-
have to.
another Vinceism. Let's take more
I
language
know.
out of our language.
Like,
You could just say special events, since I know
I know!
pay-per-views aren't a thing anymore. Why do you have to use the word premium live event? You're trying to make it sound important when it's not.
Because it's not the free version.
it's the same thing as whenever he has a non-title matchup and he says, this is a championship contenders match. Like, why?
Yeah, can't say title shot. Can't
No.
say won the belt. Can't
Nope.
say.
Can't say number one contendership match.
No. Oh, they've got a whole list of these, and the worst is when the first words you hear out of the mouth of Michael Cole are "Happy Birthday, every Ron," or I'm sorry, "Happy New Year, every Ron."
Is Ron Killings' birthday? I didn't know that.
Every Ron in the world got wished a Happy New Year by Michael Cole, but everyone
And a
else,
happy birthday
I don't
by
even
John.
damn.
Say, Sean, you almost fucked that up.
Well, it might have been his birthday. I don't know. But the point is, this isn't the first words I spoke to ring in the new year. This is on Michael Cole to say the easiest thing he was going to say all night. Happy New Year, everyone. And he couldn't do that.
He screwed
That
that up. He screwed up the call for the main event of WrestleMania Night 1. God, Michael Cole.
plus Migos set the bar for what
Bro.
2022 is going to be.
Who are Migos again?
We'll explain it in a second when we get to that match, okay?
Well, let's lead off. Let's get this party started with the Smackdown Tag Team Championship match.
No. Pre-show. Did you watch it?
There was a pre-show? Do you have?
That's my response.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sean, did you watch the pre-show?
If I was starting with the Smackdown Tag Team Championships, do you think I watched the pre-show?
No, I didn't think so. So I do want to explain something that happened on the pre-show, okay?
Pain.
Well, yes, Pain. Sheamus and Ridge Holland versus Cesaro and Ricochet. The only reason why I bring this up is that there was a spot and a botch where Cesaro picked Ricochet up on one foot as Ridge Holland was laying in the middle of the ring. And Cesaro lifts Ricochet up. Ricochet does a flip, and then his knee lands on Ridge Holland's face, which is not supposed where it's supposed to be go. It's supposed to be his chest or his neck. But he landed on Ridge Holland's face and broke Ridge Holland's nose.
And they replayed it.
And then they replayed it, and his nose was broken sideways.
Yeah.
And they had to cut in Sheamus because apparently Ridge Holland was starting to bleed all over the mat.
Bet. But I mean, if you
And
saw the
Ridge
way
Holland-
his nose bent, you could totally understand that thing would just be a
Yeah.
river.
That was gnarly.
It was gnarly. Somehow Sheamus won the match on his own because they didn't change the finish, which
I missed the
Well,
bar.
To be fair, Skylar, he was wrestling two baby faces.
That's right. And the heel has to win going up
Yeah.
against two baby faces without
course.
cheating.
The WWE
again-
baby faces are stupid and incompetent. Of course the heel's going to win.
By the way, I don't think Ricochet or Cesaro got any heat for the spot. It was just a freak accident. But
Yeah.
it's just kind of like this week of accidents and freak injuries, like Ridge Holland's nose, Phoenix's arm, and Jake Atlas's knee.
Me saying happy birthday. Yeah.
That was a
All of
freak
these
accident.
are at the exact same level of disgrace and suffering.
The only
so-
freak accident we're missing right now is Lars Sullivan.
and we're not bringing him to the table. Dear
Because
God.
fuck that guy.
Yeah. So So can we move right along back to the show?
I do want to wish Rich Holland a good recovery because, again, that nose was broken really bad.
Yes, and best of luck in your future rhinoplasty.
Yeah.
So that's a nose job for all you kids at home who have no idea what the fuck I just said. So we start with the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. It is the Usos and the New Day for the 648,328th and a fourth time. What were your thoughts, Skylar?
This was a good match, but the problem with it is that it's the Usos versus the New Day. And even though they're both really good tag teams, we've seen every type of match that these two teams have had. And because of that, I didn't really care.
Joshua?
I 110% agree. I thought this match was fine, but I've seen this match. They've been going these two teams have been going at it for at least how many years? Like 5 years now?
Longer than that. Taxes and Usos versus New Day.
Yes, exactly. I've seen this. They've had Hell in a Cell matches. They've had no disqualification matches.
TLC, ladder, last man standing. They've done everything.
Oh God! They've had tag team titles on a pole match, a pancake on a pole match.
They have not. I'm waiting for the Punjabi prison match though. Until they have a Punjabi prison match, that will not. That's the only official feud ender there is in WWE. Punjabi prison match
for Xavier's crown.
Until they do that, which was apparently made out of construction paper, because that was. Can these guys like come up with some realistic looking props? How many millions of dollars do you guys have?
Can and it looks like you have a tag team match without 8 trillion finisher kickouts that doesn't go 3 days long.
It looks like you're going to the Dollar Tree in South Carolina and picking all this stuff out and paying some scrawny monster fueled teenager with it. And
wait, hold on, Joshua, you work at Dollar Tree?
Dollar Tree.
Wait, Joshua, you work at Dollar Tree?
I work at Dollar General, not Dollar Tree.
Yeah, I didn't say it was you. Did I say you? I said a teenager who drinks Monster.
No, you said Monster Energy at Dollar Tree. They don't sell that there because I used to work there.
Okay. Well, you would have had it before you went into the building, though, right? Like you chug the Monster, you slam it onto the ground. You hit your head with it like 6 times, like Sandman did. You put it down, stomp it in, walk in like you own every dollar in the tree.
I'm Sandman if he was an emo 24-year-old and instead of alcohol, just straight up Monster Energy.
It's the same kind of energy when you think about it. But in any case, I don't disagree with either of you. This is just a match I've seen before. As always, they have 2 matches in their match. I end up imitating a chicken every time I hear the Usos entrance and watch them headbang.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about them just like doing that. I know they're getting into the moment, but for some reason, like my head just bobs and my arms just like reach back and just anyway.
You almost want to do it. You almost want to put da 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 da
yeah.
clap whenever they come out.
But Atlanta was bored because they've seen it 1,000 times. Atlanta was also a dumpster of a crowd.
Yeah.
They were not a good crowd. At all.
And name me a good wrestling crowd.
Yeah.
Name me a good wrestling crowd.
Chicago, whenever CM Punk is there.
Chicago. What's the most recent? They were pretty alive for WrestleMania Night 1.
That was a year ago.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is day 1. What's your point?
No, my point is that WWE, because they've driven off all of the regular fans. Everyone we are getting are the terrible, worst society.
This is what's left.
Professional wrestling fans you can get.
Yeah, and then I love when Xavier Woods screams out, "This is my home." He goes, "Atlanta," and then Cole seconds later, Xavier Woods is from Atlanta.
Thank you, Michael Cole.
Thank you, Cole. We really needed that ad.
Thank you for guiding us through this, Michael Cole. We'd be lost without you.
My biggest issue with this match wasn't even the match itself, and this is something I'm going to have points on all night. Kevin Dunn and the formatting of this show were the worst part of this show. They actually hurt the matches with their production more than I've seen them do in a long time. And that includes the Thunderdome, folks.
Wow.
Yeah. Because, well, first I don't know why they do this, but one of the Usos, I think it was Jimmy, started taunting and started yelling, his trash talk into the hard cam. That's just bad formatting. Because that makes it look like you're deliberately going out of your way to look at the camera, break the illusion that you're like, you wouldn't do that normally in a fight. You would, because it doesn't look like he's yelling out there, because it looks like he's yelling at the hard cam. And the way he positioned his body, it just looks so unnatural. And it's what they tell them to do. And I don't like when they do that.
It's just the increased sterilization of this product. It's getting to the point where it's like, it's not even like believable in the slightest anymore.
Well, it's getting to the point where like leaving the ring is going to be called exiting stage left. And, that's because they're making it more theatrical. They're making it like a stage play rather than like a wrestling contest, which, of course, this is WWE. I don't know what I'm bitching about, but still, it's like, it's the little things. And the little things here really bothered me in this show.
It was just an all-night just poke the bear, do something annoying that would piss off the fan watching the event.
Yeah, I mean...
That's been WWE for the past several years.
Yeah.
But it was most prominent this day, on day one.
On day one.
And to be fair to this match, to be fair to the second match in this match, they did get the crowd kind of into it with a lot of the false finishes, but, it just became moves, which, for the people who like that kind of thing, that's the kind of thing that people like. So I don't have any issue with that. And then they stand apart from each other. They look really tired. They look weak. And I said, please don't hockey fight. And they hit each other. and then the finish. Can somebody else please talk about this finish? I'll mention the other one.
Okay, for one, real quick, Sean's biggest problem was the formatting. My main issue with this match, other than the fact that I've seen it 8 trillion times this year and we're only 7 days in. Jesus, once again, we do not need to start the show with finisher kickouts in a 20-minute long match. It's the opening
17 minutes.
contact. How long was it?
17.
Still too long. It could have been 5 minutes shorter.
Could have been 7 minutes shorter. Could have been 10 minutes shorter.
They could have other tag teams on their roster besides these two. These are like the only 2 legitimate tag teams in the entire company.
Yeah, I was going to say, who are you going to replace them with?
Tag team match in a second.
But of course, the finish was a 3D for reasons.
No, a half-assed 3D. Not even a good 3D, a half-assed 3D that made Bully Ray, I'm sure, tighten his ass cheeks a little bit.
No, actually, what happened was that Bully Ray and Devon Dudley approved of the 3D. They said, you know what, you guys can use it.
Why?
Here's the thing. Hold on. I'm sure that was what was said on Twitter by Bully Ray and Devon. I'm sure on the inside, away from the screen, Bully Ray was cussing these two boys out for doing a shitty 3D.
With a shiver going down his spine.
It was bad. And also, for what it's worth, aren't the Usos heels? Where's the cheating? There was no cheating in this match.
And
do heel things.
The heels are using a popular tag team finishing move
of baby faces
instead of the baby faces. What?
Oh, WWE, you never fail to make us go, huh?
If the New Day used it and won, that would be one thing because they're baby faces. But at the same time, why use the tag team finishing move of a different team? Everyone's just going to be like, oh yeah, remember the Dudleys? They were cool. What's going on? Why?
Oh, oi, Gavolt. This match, this just wasn't what it could have been. And with these guys, I don't know whether we could have gotten more out of them. Honestly.
Their last tag team match against each other should have been that tag team Hell in a Cell match back in 2017. That Hell in a Cell match was in 2017.
Yeah, and here we are.
And that was the last time that we were enthusiastic about a feud between the two, because even then we were like, okay, we kind of seen everything from them, but the Hell in a Cell match was so good, we're like, you know what, we'll let it go, but don't do it again for a while. And they did do that, and they're like, no, we're going to throw them against each other again in 2018 and 2019. And then 2020, they were injured and doing Roman Reigns stuff. But 2021 and 2022, we're going to do it.
Yeah, and boy, they did it. And then
either make new tag teams or just get rid of the entire tag team division.
Please don't do that.
I hate... Oh,
but I will say this though, if you're not going to do it right, then don't do it at all.
Exactly.
You know,
you can't have a tag team division with 2 tag teams.
Yeah, there was a little blonde.
WWE is gonna show you, fuck you, we can.
There's a little blonde. Confused child that Kevin Dunn cut to at the end of that matchup because he was not sure why that was what that was, and I could not.
Are you sure
have
that
related.
wasn't the child or Matt Riddle?
No, way less hair, way fewer pigeons out of his ass. Then we get a promo, and I'm not even going to talk about it much, but I noticed this. Kevin Dunn tells them not to look at the camera, so you saw Big E's eyes go up and around, all the way down, all across the side. They made a full 360 around that camera, so they would not look directly into that camera. What he said was fine. I just wish that they wouldn't format these people to look dumb, because he was begging for a place to put his center of focus.
Why would you not want them to look into the camera so that it's like you're talking to the audience?
It's for the same reason that they put Big E and basically turned him backwards and then had him wrench his neck all the way back to look at a television. Because you gotta have your body in front of the camera, facing the camera, man. It's like Kevin Dunn is like the guy who thinks he knows everything, but he's a freshman just going to film school. Trust me, I graduated with a film degree. This is the guy who thinks he's got all the answers because he worked on the morning show in high school and thinks he knows everything about making shots and how to position people when he doesn't have the slightest clue how to convey what he's trying to convey.
No, you are incorrect. What it is that my daddy saved the film library, and because my daddy saved the film library, Vince McMahon owes me for the rest of his life.
Well, that's also,
Okay, I'm not going to say that.
I would say they're both correct.
I almost said something really bad, but I stopped myself at the last second.
Well,
why? You love the children. Why don't you say something bad?
Speaking.
No, I'm not the one who loves the children.
Wow, that got very accusatory very quick. Damn. All right. Well, let's move on to something else more mediocre, which is Migos, and one Migo was wearing MJF's scarf print. And why did they use half of a backstage ring for interviews? That just looks weird.
It's wrestling.
It just looks weird. And then when they do the promo later with McIntyre, where they almost get to that spot, it's just.
Oh, wait, do you know who Migos are, Joshua?
Never heard of them once before in my life. I just assume it's generic rap.
They're crappers.
Hold on, let me be more specific. They are rappers from the Atlanta area.
Who are crap.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, did you notice that they kept rubbing their hands? Like, they kept rubbing their hands for some reason. Like, they were, like, putting some hand sanitizer. Like, I know WWE's dirty, but do you really have to rub your hands all the time?
Little do we know that all three Migos have zippers on the back of their heads, and you pull them down, and they're all just large praying mantis.
They're all three of them are germaphobes.
That's right.
They're the aliens from Men in Black.
And that is a total 100% fact. Look it up on the internet, folks. And but then here comes this next match. It is why did this match happen? It is Madcap Moss with Happy I can't even say his name. These two just tickle me for whatever reason. Madcap Moss and Happy Corbin versus Drew McIntyre. This match did not need to happen. Joshua, your thoughts?
Okay, when this started, I was like, they can't be serious. They're actually doing this match. Well, at least Drew McIntyre will immediately Claymore kick the shit out of him and pin him in like 5 seconds. And then that didn't happen. And not only did that not happen, the match went about 10 minutes. And with every passing minute, I just got more upset.
Madcap Moss lasted longer than Jinder Mahal.
Why was this on pay-per-view?
There was no
why
reason.
was this on a premium live event? Excuse me.
This was a SmackDown TV match that was put on the show in order to pad it out.
Well, here's the thing. I'm happy that I got to see that Madcap Moss actually has some potential, just riddled by a horrible gimmick.
No, the match itself was fine, but like you said, the gimmick is just like...
The gimmick is bad. What's worse is that Drew McIntyre shouldn't be competitive with Madcap Moss.
Exactly. He should have immediately Claymore kicked his head off. 1, 2, 3, 5-second match.
Yeah. This is but to be fair, Atlanta didn't give a shit about Drew McIntyre. like zero. Not during the backstage interview, not during this match. They could not care. Drew McIntyre's babyface run has long overstayed its welcome.
And you know what the worst part is?
What's
is
that?
Apparently Drew McIntyre is having neck issues, and those neck issues, if they require surgery, would take him out of the Rumble and take him out of Mania. And I know he needs a break. It probably would be better if he's off TV for a little bit so someone else gets a chance to shine. But we're talking about a guy who was one of the hottest babyfaces 2 years ago, going into 2020, and then the pandemic ruined everything. But he was one of the hottest babyfaces off of that Rumble win in 2020.
He was the best thing going for WWE throughout pretty much all of 2020.
Right, and then it's just this last year, they've been giving him shit to do. He's been wrestling in all these filler feuds while they try and get people to not hate him because he was on top for so long.
Well,
and now no one cares.
Part of the problem is too, and I've noticed this with WWE, they have no concept of how to keep somebody valuable after they lose a championship. They have no idea how to do that at all. I mean, they don't know how to put him in a meaningful feud. They don't know if he was elevated by having the championship. They don't know how to capitalize that and work with somebody who's still on that level, who's still marketable. They don't really quite understand their own hierarchy beyond what their core group of like 10 people, you know the ones I'm talking about. Beyond them, they don't really know what to do with people once they lose the belt. And it's a shame. It's honestly a shame because Drew didn't deserve this, but I will say this. I think missing Mania and this injury is the perfect reason for him to come back and turn heel. I missed the Mania. First, it was taken away from me because of the pandemic. Then it was taken away from me from a whole bunch of random stupid shit like
because
Randy
I
Orton
gave
winning.
out my neck for you people, and you people didn't support me. So now I'm gonna take everything I want from the people you like.
Yeah,
because you didn't do anything for me.
Yeah, I think this is a perfect. I think this is gonna do Drew more good than harm. Going and get this fixed up and missing Mania. Yeah, it sucks not getting the Mania payoff, but I also have to imagine that among WWE, that Drew is pretty safe as far as job security.
We thought the same thing about Braun Strowman.
He's been fired before. He can be fired again.
Well, yeah, it's true. We don't know the loose cannon nature of the powers that be. But really, there's not a whole lot to do with this. Thank God Drew remembered which turnbuckle didn't have the pyro.
Yeah.
Because I thought about
I noticed that too.
Because there were 3 of them that were on. If Drew, it was like, which one was it? Went to the other side? Bad news.
Third-degree burns.
But this was but there were some good spots in this match. I mean, they did the big air belly to belly, which looked great. You know, the and the bumps that Moss took were good. You know, it
was really impressive when he caught Drew McIntyre, staggered a little bit, but then righted himself and then did a huge slam. That I actually like that he staggered a little bit.
Yeah, and you know what I've also noticed about Drew too, and this is something, it's the little things. When Drew goes and gets Irish whipped into the corner, he usually does like a little tiny jump before he gets, it's still a fluid motion, but he does a little tiny jump so that when he hits the turnbuckle, it sounds louder. It makes more of an impact than just running and turning and hitting it. And it's the little things like that make him so good at what he does.
Here's my question for you, Sean, and you, Joshua. If Madcap Moss didn't have such a bad gimmick, do you think he could be a good mid-card heel?
Totally.
Perhaps.
I think that he can't be telling crappy jokes that somebody else made up for him. I think that if we got to hear, I mean, he's definitely got some personality. He's got some charisma. I actually was a little bit tickled by these two because they were goofs. I wish they didn't oversell their laughter. But honestly, I don't even hate this gimmick. I just think that it's, for what this is,
they're
it's
given
just
nothing to work with.
Exactly. It's just too over the top. If they dialed this down a little bit, they might actually have something here with this. But the problem is, they give them crappy lines.
Not be around stuff like this.
They give him crappy lines, they give him crappy shtick, and then Madcap Moss randomly goes competitive with one of the top baby faces WWE has. And then the finish of this match made no sense. Drew goes 1, 2, 3, and 3 people did that with him, and went to go for the Claymore. Moss countered, and then not even a half a second later, Drew just clubbed him in the back. Irish whip, goes and hits a Claymore anyway for the 1, 2, 3. What was the point of the counter? If you're just going to beat him with 1 Claymore 2 seconds later, why? Why
I think
that?
What it was is that he wanted to do the count for the fans, but then in theory, he realized that Madcap.
He needs some halls.
He got some COVID right there.
Oh no! Oh no!
We'll talk about that later. But the thing about it is that he realized that I shouldn't be theatrical. Just put him away.
Yeah,
We're gonna call him Mad Cough Moss from now on.
This was not a bad match, but this shouldn't have been competitive. You know, I think Moss deserves better for this gimmick, but I'm glad. I'm honestly hoping that Drew misses Mania, because if he did end up being the choice for either of the 2 individuals and who have belts right now, I think the fans would just reject it.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, we'll see what happens, but I'm just disappointed that it took an injury to take him out, but it is what it is.
It's true. Now, we go back into the back, and I only mention this because this is something you could see the difference in ability here when it comes to promos, because now Kevin Owens is in the same position, and I'm not saying that Kevin Owens did a terrific promo, but did you notice that he was looking at the interviewer the entire time? If he can't look at the camera, he might as well talk to somebody. That's a next level.
Like a normal person.
Like a normal human being. And so thank you, Kevin Owens, for being a normal human being. Then Seth Rollins, the heel, gets a long babyface package.
Was it a long babyface package?
It was a long package.
It felt and smelt like a long babyface.
It was like a 2.5 minute long package. It was a long. They blew a lot of smoke up Mr. Rollins, Seth Luigi's ass here.
Well, do you want to know why?
Because they loves him.
No, not that. Not just that. But apparently, Seth Rollins was booked to win this match had Brock Lesnar not been involved.
Really?
Sad. And
sad.
It's
depression.
Yeah, this is so sad. Can we get 1,000 likes in honor of Seth Rollins not getting the belt? A moment of silence for Seth Rollins in his not getting a belt. Moment of silence. 5 seconds.
Damn it, Joshua.
You ruin everything.
I just had to.
This is a somber moment for the championship reign that might have been.
If only I had to fart, that would have been perfect.
Oh, yeah. Good luck getting your ass up to the camera fast enough. Anyway.
You doubt me, good sir.
Well, speaking of things that come out of your ass, here comes this next match. It is the Raw Tag Team Championships with RK Bro going up against Sucks Penises. I'm sorry, the Street Profits.
Shitty and poopy.
That's right. That's right. I have had multiple names for the 2-time Grappling winner for Worst Tag Team of the Year. The only entity to win twice.
And they're going up against the only team that has been nominated for Best and Worst Tag Team of the Year.
In the same year.
In the same year.
You're welcome, Skyler.
That's right.
You're welcome.
Well, hello, I'm Jimmy Smith with Byron Stack, son. And
the Migos, who were at ringside, and they kept panning to the whole time.
So, I will start this.
I would rather them pan to Migos than them panning to frickin' Montez Ford. I wanted to strangle him during this match.
Well, at least he looks better with the beard. He looks at least like a human man with a beard instead of a eye-popping frog toddler.
Sean, I have officially... The other guy, Angelo Dawkins, I can never remember his name because he's so just forgettable.
Poopy.
I don't mind him so much. I have joined you as far as despising Montez Ford. I fucking hate him.
Montez Ford is the Enzo Amore of that tag team.
And
like when he chopped Randy Orton and then started selling like he was chopped, I wanted to kill him. When he started dancing, I wanted to kill him.
Randy Orton.
Just be serious, please.
It was a crap chop. He brag dance and then got the eye poke. Yeah, that was bad. Why are we having a babyface versus babyface match?
why is the babyface doing the heel eye poke and the babyface is doing the heel mood, gets cheered?
Wait, which heel?
Randy Orton. Seriously, when Montez was dancing, I was booing, and when Randy poked him in the eye, I started cheering.
I'm going to say this. We all should appreciate Randy Orton right now, because when he's gone, there will be nobody cheering for anybody. Randy Orton is a product of a bygone era where they actually put value into making their people stars. And Randy, to this day, gets more cheers and more consistent cheers than almost anybody on the roster.
That is 100% accurate.
So
it's amazing that WWE has to keep bringing back John Cena, Edge, Randy Orton, these old stars that WWE made because they can't make any current ones.
Yeah.
What are they gonna do when all of these people are gone?
Replace them.
Wither up and die?
Well, we're all starting to turn into
Triple H.
powder right now.
Or
So
for Triple H.
yeah. Well, the Dunn's cuts to Migos were pointless and way too frequent. I have to agree with you there on Sky. And Orton might have overdone the leg tan because it looked like his legs were like super bronzed, and then the rest of him was like regular Orton color. Is that racist? Probably.
No.
But
Randy Orton needs to work on his tan game a little bit.
just evening it out. Just evening it out just a little bit. And it doesn't happen all the time. I just noticed it here. Ford did the corner dive that we see in every match of his. I'm bored. And then the finish of this match. You thought one shitty 3D. You thought one shitty 3D was bad. How about a second? Even worse looking one than the first match.
Do you blame Riddle or Randy for making that 3D look bad?
Yes.
Why did this have the same exact finish as the first tag team match? Why?
Oh, at least they got the hug
Anything
afterwards.
You can do better.
Yeah, that's what this match was. And then they all hugged. Great.
And Migos kept rubbing their hands for no reason.
Who, thank God, just didn't get involved. They just sat there and were like, all right, cool. All right, we done? How much money did we just make?
And they seem so uninterested. Like, WWE is so desperate to have any celebrity with any ounce of stardom to come over and give them a little bit of a boost.
Yeah, I almost missed Bad Bunny actually just dancing around Booker T. That was more entertaining than this.
Bad Bunny was actually a pro wrestling fan. Migos were there for a check.
Yeah, without a doubt. Otherwise,
and we will talk about celebrities getting involved with WWE in a little bit because boy almighty.
Yeah, well, before we get there, does anyone else have anything to say about this match? This was bad.
I have nothing else to say.
It was just bad.
The Matt Riddle's pigeons flying out of his toes is still fucking ridiculous.
I don't even think I saw it this time. I think I just missed it.
There's no Matt in that name.
I'm calling him Matt Riddle.
Well, can somebody give me some medical over here? Were the lines that we heard after Baron Corbin Pillmanized Mr. McIntyre's neck after our interviewer, I forget her name. Is it Kayla? It might have been Kayla. Goes up and goes to talk to Drew. Drew is literally seconds away from getting to the interview spot, and she just runs up to him going, "Oh, Drew, yeah, I have a question." And Drew's like, "You have a microphone. You have question. What is your question?"
Greetings, microphone.
Yeah, she says he asked the question, and he gets, I don't know, about like 15 words in, and then here come Madcap Moss and Happy Corbin, and they do this thing with the Pillmanizing of the neck, and then Adam Pearce comes out and says my favorite line in the whole night: "Give me some medical over here."
Give me some medical over here.
English language, folks. That is something that exists.
By the way, that angle was done to get Drew off of TV.
Yeah. I was like, can we get a medic? Can we get some doctors over here? EMTs, anybody. Can somebody get over here to come look at him? Can we get some medical over here? Yeah, dude, I just lit one up.
Sean, when you have some hurt, you need some medical.
That's
your hurt go away.
That's where you add Riddle and be like, yeah, man, I just lit up some medical. We just want our tag belts back. And then you sponsor RVD's rolling papers, and then you move on.
And remember, these RVD rolling papers with RVD's face on them.
That was. I still can't believe they actually allowed him to do that. I genuinely am shocked. And maybe they didn't know he was gonna, but I was like...
it would have been so much better if they didn't know he was going to do that.
Oh,
Can you imagine
man.
them watching that backstage?
But
not only are these rolling papers fucking with his face, but signed by him too.
that's right. So So, how did we get
literally
here?
spoke RVD signature.
Yeah, that's right. And then we get to the best interview I thought of the whole night. Brock Lesnar pulls a Paul Heyman, does Paul Heyman's thing, then looks right into the camera and says, "Look at that, I'm going to be WWE champion." Goes back into the room, short, sweet, into the camera. Brock deserved the belt.
Viking
Sorry, not sorry.
Lumberjack Brock is the best Brock.
This Brock looks like he's genuinely having fun being there, which you can't always say about Brock Lesnar, but he looks like he's genuinely having a good time. So long as he's genuinely having a good time, I got no problem with him doing what he's doing.
Honestly, same. Who else?
Well,
I'm just so done at this point.
But now we're almost there. We have now hit the second half of this show, and it is, God, I don't know what to say about this. It's Edge and The Miz. Skylar, why don't you start? Yes.
Joshua, can you calm down? That match was not that bad. It was just long and boring.
You're fucking insomnia.
Hold on. Can I just say one thing about this match, and I'm going to move on?
You could say many things about this match.
First, Edge's Brood entrance was badass.
Yeah, that's about the only thing
Edge's
I'm excited
Brood
about with
entrance
Edge
was badass.
now.
Second, I like that outfit, Maurice. Goddamn. Anyways.
Was that it?
That's it. There's nothing to take away from this other than the fact that it was a long match.
Au contraire. I've got a list. But, Joshua, why don't you go ahead and cut that promo that I can feel festering in your genitalia?
Okay. I am so over The Miz. I legitimately do not understand any appeal he's ever had post-2012. 2010, 2011, 2012. He was, in my opinion, he was fine. He was great. Maybe not ready enough for the WWE title reign he went on. But he was fine. He was a good heel. But for some reason in 2012, they turned him babyface, and ever since then, he's been fucking boring. 2013, boring. 2014, boring. On and on and on and on. And then he had that overrated as fuck promo on Daniel Bryan on Talking Smack. I still don't know why everyone was so, oh my God, that was so good. Let's care about the Intercontinental Championship now, and then immediately not care about it as soon as this feud's over.
Well, they never got the feud. They never got the feud until years later.
I still do not understand why everyone went so crazy over that overrated as fuck promo with him and Daniel Bryan on Talking Smack.
Can I counter you and be the devil's advocate?
Please do.
So apparently The Miz was upset about the fact that even though he was the Intercontinental Champion, he was not being booked on SmackDown. So he used his passion and anger and said, you know what? Give me that Talking Smack spot. I want to do a promo against Daniel Bryan and complain about my situation. And it was cathartic in watching The Miz get all of his frustrations out about not being booked properly during that time.
And I'm sorry, but I thought his delivery of that whole thing back in 2016 was lame. He just talked like this the whole time, and just like this the whole time. I'm angry now.
No. Joshua, you are not watching that promo without... You are selectively hating The Miz. Now, let's be clear. I think The Miz has had a terrible last few years, actually. But last year specifically, I mean, he
won the title last year, Skylar. How could you say that?
He was WWE champion, and then he was eaten by zombies.
Can I finish what I want to say?
Yeah.
I think he should have been in the running for worst male of the year, in hindsight.
In my opinion, he should be in the running for worst male of the year every year since 2013.
Except for that one feud with Dolph Ziggler in 2016.
Fuck that feud. Wow, the whole feud was, oh man, I'm the Intercontinental Champion and I should be booked more. And Daniel Bryan said that I'm soft. Oh, I'm so offended, even though it was absolutely 100% correct. And then they had the matches with Dolph Ziggler where Miz cheats to win. Wow, we've never seen that before. And then Dolph puts his career on the line and then wins the Intercontinental title to only lose the belt like a couple weeks later. And then The Miz just randomly loses it to Dean Ambrose. So that whole thing was completely and totally meaningless. And where is Dolph Ziggler now?
Is that the fault of Miz, though? Or is that the fault of WWE not knowing what to do in a situation like that?
I'm just as annoyed with WWE as I am with Miz. But The Miz, I'm sorry. He looks like a regular person. He does not look like a wrestler. When I watch him wrestle, I'm bored. When he does his stupid little sweeping DDT, I'm bored. When he puts on a shitty-looking figure 4, I'm bored.
Oh.
I have been bored with this fucker for like almost a decade now.
I got nothing against this, Sean, okay?
So
I'm going to stop.
I'm fucking tired of watching this guy wrestle. I want him to leave. I want him to retire. I'm done.
Can I get a word in here?
His stupid little hoodie. Why does he wear a stupid hoodie with the stupid fucking glasses? He looks like a nun.
Because he's the A-lister.
Get it?
Because he's Hollywood, baby. He
No,
come
he's
from major motion pictures. He been in 4 different Marines, baby. That's almost all the military corps right there, baby.
Because he's getting heat, which is clearly working. Because look how angry you are. Now do you want to see?
I'm not mad because he's a good heel. He's annoying. I want to see him get his ass kicked. I don't want to watch him wrestle.
All right.
For 20 minutes against Edge.
Allow me.
For 20 minutes against Edge.
Allow me to interject here, and let me just say that when it comes to The Miz, it's definitely been waves with me. There have been some times when I see the potential in him, and I'm like, you know what? He's doing it. He's putting in hard work. His matches aren't great, but when he's in with the right person, he can make things happen, right? There have been this, like, I particularly, and maybe this is just hindsight, nostalgia talking, but I actually particularly liked, I didn't really think the promo was perfect, but I thought the feud with Ziggler was pretty good, but considering that was the highlight of SmackDown at the time. I think there's also been moments where the roster has been so paper thin that Miz as champion actually seems like a valuable thing to do. But then they do things like put him with John Morrison and have him squirt water at people. And every time that he looks and like he's building himself back up or they're putting any sort of real value and time into what he's doing, they cap him off at the knees or do the worst thing they possibly could do and make him champion when nobody wanted it. And at the time that nobody wanted to see Miz as champion and you knew that he wasn't going to be champion for very long against the person he shouldn't be beating, right? They just have no sense of timing for how they could properly use the Miz, because I think there is talent in him, but you look at the people that he's associated with and you go, to be fair, Miz did not look like he was on Edge's level on this night, just by the sheer way that he worked. This match wasn't terrible. It was long.
I will concede that most of my issue with The Miz is the way WWE handles him. But me personally, I just don't think he's that talented other than on the mic.
I don't disagree with you. I don't think his in-ring...
Even then, I think he's overrated.
His in-ring at this point is passable. At best. Passable. He's not the worst guy when he's wrestling and there's a women's match that isn't one of the 4 horsewomen on the show. He's not going to look the worst on the night. You know what I mean?
I also have a rant about the women's match.
So, we'll get there. But just a few notes of this match. I hope Eric Bischoff didn't pay for that blazer that he got brewed all over. I really... Seeing Eric officiate a wedding kind of made me miss the 3-minute warning thing that they did with the Billy and Chuck commencement ceremony, which was also stupid. But still, that was a kid, so I liked it. Mike Rome tried, but he will never be Tony Schimmel going, superstar. He tried. He tried.
Mike Rome was annoying the hell out of me.
He's not as bad as the Hamwich, who I'm sure is...
He's trying to be the Hamwich.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that. You know what?
Diet Hamwich.
You ready to hear probably one of the most controversial thing I'm going to say all day? I miss Santino Morella's hip toss.
he did a good hip toss.
Because the hip tosses,
really
tosses were not good by either individual, and
if you want to see some good Santino Morella hip tosses, go over to SWCG.
That was like I think his best move was that hip toss because he did it beautifully. Every time I saw it.
You didn't like when he did the Cobra?
You didn't like the split leg stunner?
Split leg. Okay, the split leg part was fine. The stunner part annoys me.
Yeah, well, I've got more things of annoyance. Speaking of, I am sick of heels smiling when baby faces get the better of them, and this is something that I can fully put Miz on blast for to quench the insatiable appetite for disdain that JoshAgeddon has played forth upon us. Edge punches him, gets him in a grapple, does a headlock, gets the better of him, is about to go for a move, and then he gets out of it. And Miz looks in the camera, well, not into the camera, but he looks down at the camera and he smiles, like, oh, he got the better of me. Get angry. Can we have some heels that get angry from time to time? Like, just once or twice? Do we always have to just laugh when somebody is getting the better of us? You know, he's not getting beat, he's getting mad. Not, he's not getting beat, he's smiling. Yeah. So...
Isn't this supposed to be a feud where Edge and Miz don't like each other?
You would think.
You know what? They missed an opportunity here. You know why they missed an opportunity here? Because they could have done with Edge, been like, when they came and Miz made his whole thing about like the old Edge could, do everything, but the new Edge can't handle this. Edge should have been like, I'm staring across from somebody trying to be me in 2006. Because look at you, trying to be an ultimate opportunist, cashing in the money in the bank. You did that earlier this year. Look, you've got a side piece by you you're supposed to make tons of time with. The only thing is, it's 2021. You can't put a bed in the ring like I did. And that's the difference between you and me, Miz, is that I will always be one step sharper, one step finer tuned, one step grittier than you will ever be with your polished little style and your cute little hoodie and your Hollywood phony wannabe garbage. Because there's grit in this business. And Edge personifies grit. You could have gone somewhere with that, where you could have made the comparison. Because really, Miz and Maurice are trying a lot over the past few years to be what Edge and Lita really was.
But the thing, though, is that we just got out of...
That little promo you just cut was better than any promo Edge and Miz have cut during this entire feud.
Well, hold on. The whole thing is that Edge just got out of a feud with Edge Light, who is Seth Rollins. The Miz is not really trying to be like Edge. He's trying to be The Miz, which is something else.
Well, at least they didn't try to have The Miz do a spear. Yeah, can we take in the positives? Yeah. No woo. Yeah. Atlanta didn't give a woo because Miz's figure 4 is poo.
By the way, can we just say that the only reason why this feud even happened is that they're trying to capitalize on what happened with CM Punk and MJF and mentioning Miz's name?
That is the only reason why this even happened, because he got name dropped on a different program. That is the only reason why.
Yep. That's pretty much it. And there was
Can we go to the finish?
Oh, God, the finish of this match.
Unless you have more notes, Sean.
Oh, I do. Well, I'll run through them real quick. Why didn't the ref count after the Miz rolled in and the referee's count was at 7 and then he just stopped counting because he knew it wasn't time for Edge to get counted out?
Who is the ref?
Who remembers? They did a DDT spot outside the ring where Edge pulled the Miz out and did the DDT on the apron. That was a very smart spot because Edge knew that would restart the count. Because Miz got pulled out and that breaks the count because, another person's left the ring. That was smart. And then they followed it up with the ref not counting after the Miz rolled in. And also, another point of thing. We had a table. Everyone went to the announce table at least once tonight. Every match. Every single match had a spot where they went to the announce table. Just because other people are sitting at it doesn't mean the table spot is different. Why?
Legitimately just to annoy you.
The delay between the roll-up, the kick-out, and then getting posted. If you remember this moment where there was the spot where Edge almost stopped and then got posted in it, it was just disjointed. But Edge knew exactly how long to milk the reversal of the poo figure 4 that Miz put in. And then... Then Miz went for a cheating pin, and he used the top... You don't use the top rope to put your feet on to cheat. What? Isn't that the most obvious spot?
Well, because... here's the thing. It was supposed to happen in a match that's going to come up.
Well...
So So maybe they were trying, like, we'll save it for another match.
So much for that shit.
Well, and then we get a whole bunch of sissy hand slaps, and Corey Graves like, great counter by Edge. Maurice, oh yeah, and then, this is my final bit about this before we get to the finish. I regret giving Maurice the superstar spotlight. Because she was poop in this match.
Please charge now.
She was absolute poop in this match, and I'll tell you why. Because every time that she was supposed to get involved, or she was supposed to react, or she was supposed to put her foot on, or, get Edge's foot on, she just stood there and looked completely conspicuous. Like, oh, let me put Miz's foot up. She puts the foot on the rope and just stands there and watches as the ref counts. Just, like, doesn't move away at all. Or, like, back up and go, look, ref, look what Miz did on his own. To make it look like they're cheating. To make it seem like they didn't see with the ref. She literally just stood there and was just like...
I noticed that too. It was very clunky.
Yeah, it wasn't even clunky. It was no action. Maurice looked mildly interested in this matchup. And that was the thing. Like, she literally, that was all she did until she finally had to get up and get the referee's attention. But after all of that, I just was like, I was so disappointed because she didn't do any of the stuff that as a manager you could be doing to assist the match and how a finish like this was supposed to go. But instead she just stood there like Melania Trump, like a little meerkat. Just like, whoa, what's going on here? Whoa.
I'm telling you, I watched that match with you and I'm like, this is not good. And Maurice has never gotten the chance to get better, but it has to have interest too. She has to be interested. And she's not.
Well, remember what I said, Sky? I said then, it never felt like she wanted to get better. That was just my opinion, and we didn't know that for sure, but I mean, you look at the way that she worked in this match, if you can even call it that. It's just, I don't know. It just, and then...
She was literally trophy wife, just sitting in the corner.
And
compared to Beth Phoenix, who comes in.
Oh, no.
But she waited for her music. Just to be sure. And Kevin Dunn missed the pop. Kevin Dunn missed the moment, recaptured the moment, and waited for the music. It was and once again, the production of this show hurt every match. This was by far one of the worst go-rounds that Kevin Dunn and that entire production truck. I'm not even going to just say specifically Kevin Dunn, because I think when we say Kevin Dunn, we really mean the entire WWE production team sitting in that truck making that show happen. The people putting the switchboards, looking at the camera, go to this, go to that. There's a lot of people involved in there, and every one of them needs to be held accountable for this. It was bad production all night. It hurt the matches, it hurt the tone, and it overall just hurts your overall image.
Oh my God. Beth just standing there waiting for her music. Time stopped. Like, it was so bad.
Horrible.
And then her music finally starts, and it's like the music starting unfroze her. It's just so unnatural, and just, my God.
It looked like a glitch from WWE Raw versus SmackDown.
That's exactly what that was.
It reminded me of when Vampiro a couple of years ago stood up because somebody called him out on AAA, stood up and he's sitting there, and then the camera's close enough you can hear him go, "Where's my fucking music? Where's my music?" And he literally standing there at the ring, just standing up, looking around, yelling into the announcer, "Where's my fucking music?" And then finally it shows up and it's like, "All right, go time." And it's like, come on. It's...
This sucked. This was way too long, and the finish was so badly botched.
Well, if you say that, the finish is badly botched, let's talk about the next match.
Well, at least we got a serviceable Bobby Lashley and MVP promo who are still great. I love them both. And I love this new Irish interviewer who's like, "Excuse me, Bobby, can I get a quick interview?" I love it. I love this guy. I don't know who he is. I forget his name, but you keep doing what you're doing, bud. Then we get this.
No, keep going.
It is Liv Morgan versus Becky Lynch for the whichever color women's championship Becky's got.
The red one.
Okay, great. What did you think about this, JoshAgeddon?
This sucked. I hated this match. Like, I hate Liv Morgan. Her offense is the worst. Like 1 minute into this match, she tries a weird springboard flip into a code breaker, and her knees go nowhere near Becky's face, and Becky has to bump outside the ring for it, and I'm just like, I'm already disinterested in this match. I've already given up. Everything she does looks so, like, it's, I don't know how to describe it, but it's like she wants to do such complex shit, but she's also terrified to hurt the other person. So it just looks so tentative, but it's so complex that it's just like, just do something. There was one power bomb that looked good in this match, and that was it.
Yep.
It's the fact that she doesn't have confidence in her own ability.
She really doesn't.
Like, she knows what to do. She knows what she wants to do, but she doesn't have confidence in herself to be able to do it. And you can see it in everything she does. She does not feel comfortable in that ring.
No, she does not.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't have much to say on this match. It was just Becky Lynch working and trying to get something out of Liv Morgan.
Oh, and by the way, did you notice Becky Lynch wasn't that great in this matchup either, because Becky Lynch tried to do that leg drop famouser in the middle of the rope that she does in some of her matches to the back of the head. Completely whiffed it.
And, okay. Where do I begin with this? I only have a few things to say, because you guys have pretty much covered everything else that I was going to bring up. I liked Becky's goats for shoulder pads. That was cool. That was real nice. The promo package leading up to this match really just showed how superior Becky Lynch is. Without even seeing any confrontation between them, you could tell from the promo package that Becky's the superior. Everything. In every way.
Better talker, better wrestler, more legitimate presence.
I knew this was going to be bad when Liv cut the exact same "ever since I was a little girl, I wanted to be a pro wrestler" promo we hear from all of them.
Oh my god.
Soon as I heard that, I knew this was not going to go well. In other news, hold on. And actually, before we get into that, I got to roll some. We're going to do another intro. Another piece of wrestling news. Gonna put it in real quick. Roll it again, baby. Coming straight to you from the Golden Gate Garage. This is the Wrestle News with Skylar Green. Okay, in other news, now that we've gotten the second package in, small screaming girl who sucks at wrestling doesn't get over.
You have to be more specific. There's a lot of them.
Exactly. This is pretty consistent news. More at 11. Yeah, we had another announce table spot. People couldn't give two shits about Liv. Everything that Liv did was terrible. The entire Riot Squad is useless. Did Liv even touch Becky with that drop kick? No. Bad dive, more screaming. And then Becky tried to cheat, but she wasn't close enough to the ropes.
So she just pinned her clean.
Instead.
That was just a bad finish. I just feel bad.
I would have rather Becky just, like, beaten her with her act, like, to disarm her. I would have rather just her beating her flat.
I would have loved it if Becky just got her in the disarmer 30 seconds into the match and made her tap.
Yeah.
That would have been perfect.
What's up with Becky's face? Why does she keep doing these really weird expressions?
You mean like whenever someone kicks out of one of her moves and she starts rubbing her chin, lips, and nose?
I blame Seth Waluigi.
It feels like Becky is trying to do Seth Rollins' gimmick, but she can't because she can't pull it off.
I think she's trying to heal a little bit too hard, and I think that she could again, they're probably telling her to amp it up more than she really has to. I think she could do a lot more with a lot less when it comes to what, the facial expressions and all that jazz. But
Liv Morgan is way too green to be wrestling these types of matches.
Green, she's been in the ring for, how long has the Riot Squad been around? 6 years?
She's been in WWE for 6 years. She was part of the Riot Squad since 2017. But again, most of those were 6-woman tags, okay?
But
She's
still.
not getting a lot of singles matches.
But still.
That's why they have a performance center.
Yeah, well, not anymore. They just sickled the
used to
shit
have
out of it.
NXT, which was a developmental program.
We're on NXT 2.0.
Yeah, Joshua, you missed just a quick moment. We were talking about the news and how WWE just released like everybody associated with Triple H ever. So Triple H is now looking at Vince McMahon going, Mr. Stark, I don't feel too good. But this was and that's right, folks. You get the same joke twice in one podcast. You're welcome.
Yeah, that is right. That's what happens when one of us is late.
That's right. And so this sucked. That was me reiterating my own jokes is more entertaining than this match was.
Yes, Liv Morgan did not deserve this opportunity. She should not be on a pay-per-view singles match for a premium live event for a championship.
And then we get another package.
I hate everything about Liv Morgan.
Yeah.
Like, she sucks in the ring. Those stupid little eye drop things on her face, I just hate them so. I just want to reach into the TV and rip them off one at a time. And if I hear one more person say, I've been through so much in my life, I've worked so hard, and now I'm finally here in the WWE, and I'm going to become champ. I want you to lose. I'm so sick and tired of everyone being like, my life sucked, and now I'm here. I don't care. I'm so over it.
Wait, hold on. Wow.
I'm so over it.
No, hold on.
Everyone does it. I'm so over it.
So, what? This can't be it.
What can't be it?
This can't be it.
You mean the final match that we get from Liv? No, probably not.
No. One of the guys from Migos is married to Cardi B.
God!
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and speaking of celebrities, Johnny Knoxville announced himself for the Royal Rumble.
Why?
Because
Johnny
he's
Knoxville
a
could take
jackass.
A really big bump.
Hooray! Well, then Seth got another package and an interview, and Seth couldn't look at the camera. That promo would have been great if he was talking to somebody. And then we get a random ass cut to black. Did you guys get this? On the Peacock? With a random cut to black, and then it's like, all right, main event time. And
and then it cuts the announcers, and they're like, what just happened?
Yeah, not even they knew.
Well, here's the thing. We were supposed to get 2 world title matches, 1 fatal 4-way, which, whatever, and then Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. But then Roman Reigns got COVID because 2021, it was a bitch.
Yeah. And Pat McAfee did a good job of saying, like, yeah, COVID's really screwing with us, you know, wish Roman the best. There really probably wasn't anything else WWE could have said, you know.
Yeah. And the thing about it is that I understand why they had to do this. They had to get Brock, because Brock Lesnar was advertised. You don't just pay Brock Lesnar to not show up. They had to involve him in some way, and they figured, let's just insert him into the other match, because why not?
Yeah. So we get a 5-way match. And as I say with most of these multi-person things, you had me at 5-way, you lost me at match. And
okay, Sean, I want to look at your search history now.
And
Sean's interests here.
And as with most 5-ways, there were no disqualifications. Great.
Yeah. There were also no countouts.
But thankfully, this wasn't bad. This was short, which was the best part, but this wasn't bad.
This was the only good thing on the whole goddamn show.
Why don't you break it down for us, JoshAgeddon? What'd you like?
All right, so this show just was straight up ass all the way through because nothing happened on this entire show except for shitty wrestling and terrible. Like, this is how not to shoot or record anything ever. And then we have this match. And it has a little bit of intrigue because at the last minute they had to jam Brock Lesnar into it. It was chaotic. They were throwing everyone everywhere. Brock Lesnar throwing suplexes is always amazing to watch. I love how Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins, they had an alliance for the entire thing. And I like how they didn't deteriorate through the entire match. Because in every match like this, they work together and then they start fighting each other because I want to win. No, I want to win. They didn't do that in this match.
Although I will say, just to kind of add on to that, I wish they hadn't done the double super kick that the Usos, that's basically half of the Usos gimmick is those double super kicks. I just wish they didn't do that. We didn't need it.
We also got a spear through the barricade again.
Of course.
Spear for the barricade is awesome.
Barricade, I mean,
good, but we've seen it 8 trillion times.
It's part of the premium. That's what you pay for when you get the premium live event. You get a free announce table spot and a complimentary barricade spot.
Premium? Oh, those barricades are coming down.
That's right. But not on a regular live event.
Atlanta, Georgia, shouting out, "We want tables!" Clap, 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 clap.
That was the thing that got the biggest pop all night, wrestlers included.
Yep.
They want to see someone put through a table, and they put someone through a table.
That is the state of our business today, folks. Where the most over thing in wrestling is the pre-cut table.
Well, it was the announce table that they put.
Okay, well then the IKEA table that they probably bought at IKEA. And
the cardboard table that breaks if you push it too hard.
Hey, to be respectful to IKEA, they make better products than you think they do.
Their meatballs are banging. I won't lie, their meatballs are absolutely banging. And then, but anyway,
my favorite thing in this matchup, though, the last F5 that Brock gave Big E was brutal.
But if you notice, so hold on, let's talk about let's forget Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens for a second, okay? Because they didn't really matter to the finish of this match.
Except that Kevin Owens has the best frog splash in wrestling, and only he should be allowed to do it. Continue.
We should really talk about the other 3 guys because they're the ones that are more important. Now, here's the thing. During this whole entire time, has Big E been a good world champion or a bad world champion? And more importantly, is it his fault or WWE's fault that he doesn't feel important?
Well, I think you just answered your own question.
Yeah, exactly. You just basically said what either of us could have said.
Exactly. The thing about Big E is that he hasn't been bad because he's not a good wrestler. He's not a charismatic person. He's not a good promo. The problem is that WWE did nothing to make him feel different from being part of the New Day other than give him another new theme. Because he has the same kind of colorful attire. He cuts the same types of promos. He has the same type of behavior. I'm silly, but when time's going, I get serious. Nothing changed about Big E whatsoever.
Nope.
And I feel bad because Big E, people kept saying he got the Kofi treatment, and I was arguing against it, but the more I thought about it, I'm like, yeah, he got the Kofi treatment. He only got the title because they wanted to do a ratings jump.
I mean, almost to the T. I mean, it was like almost the exact same amount of time, although I think Kofi had a longer run.
Kofi had way longer.
Kofi had a longer run, but the matches that he had were meaningless. They didn't give him any opponents to really make him feel more special. And then he loses to Brock Lesnar, at least not in 9 seconds, but he is the one who took the pin.
If Xavier Woods ever wins the WWE title, we already know who the
Look
next
out.
is.
Watch out for Beasts Incarnate, Xavier.
Just take the belt and run.
Now, here's the thing, though. During this entire match, Brock Lesnar, as much offense as he got in, he never got a single offensive move on Bobby Lashley. And that's on purpose, because Bobby kept attacking Brock Lesnar.
Successfully.
And you know who the number 1 contender is for Brock Lesnar's championship now, right?
That's right.
Bobby fucking Lashley.
Bobbert.
Now, let me go ahead and get into more information / speculation, shall we?
Let's do it.
So Bobby Lashley won that Fatal 4-Way with the other guys to become the number 1 contender for Brock Lesnar's WWE title at the Royal Rumble. Apparently, the plans are still for Brock Lesnar to wrestle against Roman Reigns at Mania. However, it will not be a title unification, nor will it be a champion versus champion match. What that means is that most likely he's going to drop the title at some point, and I think Bobby Lashley's going to take it from him.
I mean, I would love that.
I would counter that Roman Reigns is going to lose the belt to Happy Corbin, and then Roman Reigns...
Sean.
Wow.
I want you to take this hand. I want you to turn around, shove it up your ass, and shut the fuck up.
Wait, what are you doing with your hand?
I'm sorry, Madcap Moss. Madcap Moss will beat Roman Reigns.
Oh, God. No, Johnny Knoxville's winning the Royal Rumble.
That's right. Knoxville wins the Rumble.
Welcome to Jackass. I'm the Universal Champion.
But I also think it's not Big E's fault too. He's just stuck in the fact that people want to see Lashley versus Lesnar. Like, that's a dream match that people have had for a while now.
And like you touched upon, Sky, Big E's run just didn't work. It just didn't work. Again, it's not necessarily his fault, but he was, I think, a victim of timing. Another victim of timing, another concession made by Vince McMahon. Vince does this a lot, where he'll be like, all right, let's shut the marks up and give him something once. Basically, I bet you Ziggler's whole title reign, granted, he got the concussion and then that was that. But I also think that no matter what, that Ziggler was not going to get another world title after that. I really don't think he was. Because I think that a lot of ways, Ziggler was a concession by Vince McMahon saying, fine, you like this guy a lot, let's give this to you so you'll shut up about it, and then we'll go back to our business at hand, after a few months have passed, and you're all happy, and you're all bitching about how his run didn't work like we said it wouldn't. So I think that this is kind of another one of those times where they gave it to Big E just to shut the marks up, to make some big splash, and it just didn't work.
And remember, he got the title reign the same week that put CM Punk came back. They did that whole thing just to pop a rating.
Yeah, where he cashed in on a heel Lashley who was injured and looked like the babyface.
Exactly. Even though Bobby Lashley just beat up Randy Orton, they had to make him injured so he would get sympathy.
This company does not know what the hell they're doing. We think Tony Khan and company are bad, but this company has no idea what the hell they're doing. Tony, just for pure ignorance, doesn't know what he's doing. These guys have no excuse for not knowing what they're doing.
Like, Tony is just inexperienced. These guys just straight up suck.
Well, no, it's not just that. It's that Vince is senile. He doesn't know what to think anymore because he doesn't have it there logically. He should just... Again, I don't want to say what I'm thinking.
But
honestly, what I almost said earlier, almost just dropped the "just die already" earlier in the podcast.
Well, I didn't want to say it, but now you said it, so we might as well talk about it.
Well, I mean, either that or sell. Either that or just sell and just get out of there. Just get out while the going's good. Go retire to your mansion with your Linda McMahon robots who will blow you whenever they want.
Mansion, so.
No, well, apparently that was his backup mansion. That was his mansion. He might come visit every now and then, not the actual original.
Was that
mansion.
His side mansion?
Yes, that is his side piece mansion. So now we're into ratings. Why don't we start with Skylar? Because you're the one I'm most interested in, because you have, to your own admission, been the more forgiving of the three of us when it comes to WWE. So what did you grade this show?
I mean, the thing about it is that this is just a hard show to defend. Nothing happened on it besides the main event. There wasn't anything that was horrendously bad, but there wasn't anything that was interesting either. Like, the baseline score for me is 5 out of 10, but I'm not going to give it 5 out of 10 because it's a baseline. It should be average. If I can say there's only one good thing in 3 hours, then there's only one good thing in 3 hours. 3 out of 10.
All right. Joshua.
Once again, there was one good thing on this show, and it was the main event. And it's purely because of the last split second, hey, we've got to do something crazy real quick because our main champion is out with COVID, so we have to do something radical. That was the only thing on the show. Everything else was just boring, bad, uninteresting, uninspired, just another episode of Raw. And I'm actually going to go a little bit lower than Skylar. Again, I'm giving this show a 2 out of 10, and that 2 is purely for the main event.
Wow. This is wild. I did not think I would be the highest scorer of the three of us. Genuinely.
Well, here's the thing. Originally, had you asked me the day after, I would have given it a 4. But the more I think about it, the more I think, they didn't really do a good show.
No, it wasn't a good show. And here's the most interesting thing. Here's where I will give them credit. They got me interested in a multi-person match. That doesn't happen very often. Because I'm just so...
But the only reason why they got you interested was because of a last-minute change.
But it was also in the last 2.5 minutes that match got anywhere near good. I mean, there were spots, and it was fun. I mean, it was fun. This was fun. It was short. It was sweet. I wish that all the matches had been this short. But the rest of this show, I mean, it was just... long and meandering, and when the second best match on the night involves Madcap Moss, that pretty much tells you all you need to know. I mean, it's just, again, the production value of this show was the worst it's ever been. That's where I feel like this show hit a new low. But I will say this: the 5-way was fun. The ending of the Usos match, as much as I don't like spot fests, was fun. Atlanta.
It's great to see Edge's Brood entrance.
Edge's Brood entrance was fun, and you know, if the match wasn't the worst until the ending, you know, there were some redeeming qualities, but it's getting harder and harder and harder to defend the few redeeming qualities in a show just muddled with shit. At least with an AEW show, there's a good show hidden behind hours worth of filler. There's none of that. There's a lot of filler here, but all that filler exposes just a bad show. But I would argue that if Roman Reigns had not gotten COVID, we would look at this show worse.
Probably.
Because the Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar match, they'd probably make the stupid decision of taking the title off Roman Reigns at day one, which I'm sure was what their plan was originally. Because why have Roman Reigns beat him twice?
Their plan originally was to have Paul Heyman get involved,
right,
and delay it.
Yeah, but the whole thing is like, yeah. So wait, great, we get like a match of 5 minutes and finishes, which we know that's what it's gonna be. You know, no knock on either gentleman, but we know that's what it's gonna be. We get a Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar match that we know to see. We see Heyman's involvement, which would be probably the best part of the match. And then we'd get a fuck finish and everybody'd be pissed because we all know it'd be heading into WrestleMania. So just on the sheer fact that Roman Reigns getting COVID might have actually helped this show, I'm giving it a 3.5 out of 10. Which is weirdly the most of anything else.
A 3.5 is the highest grade.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's when you know.
When COVID gets you half a point, that's when you know.
COVID coming in and making the show better because it forces them to be creative.
That's right. That's right. Well, thankfully, our creativity is just getting started. Whether theirs remains to be seen. But a hell of a show. All the news, day 1. Now we're into day 8.
Nonsense-ish.
That's right. And going forward, we're going to have some good times. So stay tuned for that. Got some fun news about the 100th episode coming up next week. So stay tuned for that. Josh, again, thank you for coming on our show. And thank you for having us on your show.
Absolutely. And I apologize for being late. It'll probably happen again.
It probably will. And Skylar, thank you for being here from the beginning and staying solid as you always are.
Toodles, my man. Thank you.
Toodles to you too.
Toodles and oodles.
And we'll be right back.
And we'll be right back.
Right.